Hey everyone, welcome to Princess of Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are doing a blind reaction to episode 7 of One Piece LA. And I want to start off by saying something because I mentioned something in the other reaction I did today, the reaction to Milo Pony Friend or Make Your Mark, episode 15. I believe I mentioned in that, and this was the original plan, that I was going to do both 7 and 8 together, that I was going to just finish off the series in one video. Because I've done that before with multiple series, and I was planning on doing that, but today's stream, Stardew Valley stream for the Streaming in September week, ended up going on like pretty much an hour longer than I planned. And while I didn't really have like a full set out direct plan, which is why it could have gone on an hour longer, because of that, I have decided to just cut this back, do one episode, and we'll do the other episode later in the week. But this does also mean that you already know that My Little Pony Make Your Mark is replacing One Piece LA. So you know that ahead of time. I've already started it, so yeah. Just letting you know that because of the stream today, we're unable to do both. I just don't have the time for both at this point. But we're still getting to at least one episode. So we're technically just starting the new MLP episodes before we finish this, but this will be finished this week. Like, I don't like to guarantee things, but I'm guaranteeing it. Believe me, I will prioritize this. So last time we finished off the Baratie arc, and it went very differently with the inclusion of Arlong and the exclusion of Don Krieg. Krieg was very briefly shown, but Mihawk defeated him before he could even think about coming to the Baratie. He just killed his ass. We did see Geen. Geen did come to the Baratie, but he didn't even directly say he was part of Krieg's armada. He did mention the 500 ships and everything, so it's like we know what he was talking about, but yeah, it never really connected. In the end, Mihawk was the antagonist, you could say, not a villain, but the antagonist of the first of those two episodes, episode 5. And the antagonist of episode 6 was the actual villain, Arlong, who has been set up a lot further in this season than he ever was in the actual manga and anime. And it's really interesting in that regard. I genuinely believe that there is some major positives to doing that. Again, in the case of having a different medium and all. But there are some things that just feel a little off. It's very different, and I have to get used to that, and I've been talking about how this time a lot of these differences aren't bothering me, and for the most part they're not. It's just some things are a little. I just have to get used to them because I'm so used to this series, so used to One Piece being a certain way, and so it's like it just takes some getting used to, and then I'll be fine. But we have season 2 already confirmed. We have the creators are apparently planning for at least 6 more seasons, or 6 seasons total. They're hoping, and I think they said there was like hopes for even upwards of like 12 in all at the moment. Hey, if Netflix keeps renewing, people will keep watching, and if it keeps being as good as it has been, I can see it. I can very much see it. So I'm excited. I'm excited for more. But I'm also excited to see this end, because we're ending with Arlong Park and the directly therefore after. And I presume Garp and his ship and Kobe Helmeppo, all them, are going to get involved somehow in the end. But are they going to replace Nezumi? I can't see Garp working with Arlong being corrupt like that. Maybe Helmeppo. I don't know. I guess we'll have to just wait and see. But this is the big one, because for a lot of people, the Arlong Park arc is where, for the manga and anime, this series truly starts to shine. It's where people truly say it gets it, not just that it gets good, but that it really proves itself. Because even those of us who believe that the series is good from episode 1, it's like even we believe it's like, oh no, Arlong Park is special. It's like it goes from just being a notably good series to like, oh no, this is a big deal. The stuff with Nami, the character work, the story work is masterful. And the Luffy please help me scene where he gives her his hat is one of the most iconic scenes in the series, without question. To this day, after over 1,000 chapters and episodes, it's still one of the most iconic moments, without question. So I'm very nervous, but very excited to see it done in live action. Because I'm wondering, are we gonna see Emily Rudd's Nami stabbing at her tattoo violently like that? Because that scene in the anime and the manga even, but especially the anime, because of obviously the voice actor's performance and everything, is so uncomfortably horrifying and upsetting, and in the best way. It is hauntingly perfect. It's just, I don't know how you could adapt that properly, but I'm hoping that they do. And they've shown that even with changes, they've made this as great as it is. So I have faith. I have perfect faith in this. Let's see how it goes. When the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. There's a lot you could say about how this was adapted, on how quick it went through, on how many things it cut out. There wasn't even any Hachi. But despite anything and anyone that they cut, despite any moments they specifically didn't include, despite the changes and how quickly they had to move through this storyline because of only having 2 episodes here, this was as perfect as it could have been. Here's the fucking weird thing. And I've heard other reactors talk about this before. Sorta Stupid has mentioned it, for example. They mentioned that they've heard that there were people who were saying that that once it reached I think the Baratier arc, there's some people who are saying that it went downhill, and I'm thinking okay, you're allowed your opinions, but if you are truly believing that, I'm sorry. I don't understand how you can call yourself a One Piece fan. You're allowed your opinion, whatever, and all, but how the fuck are you a One Piece fan? And both the Baratier arc stuff from the last 2 episodes, and now this. I don't know how next episode's going to be, but how can this not be perfection in your eyes? Again, there's a lot of stuff cut out, a lot of stuff that is changed, a lot of stuff that is very different, but I keep hammering this in every time. Change is not bad. Just because things are different does not mean they're bad. This is a different medium. They have to do things differently. Things are going to work differently. Certain things won't work in live action. Because with animation, you have a certain level of silliness and expressiveness that is literally impossible to properly do in live action. It's just not possible. Like, honestly, the amount of stuff they are getting away with is astounding. The amount of stuff that they actually have done is surprising. Because there's a lot of stuff in here that you almost don't believe they should have been able to get away with. The Gum Gum Balloon, the Gomu Gomu no Fusen, how the fuck did they make that work? In episode 5, when Luffy inflates himself to bounce the cannonball that Garp threw right back at the Marine ship. How the fuck did they make that work? That should not be able to work in live action. And that is one of the goofiest fucking things they did in this series. And it's like, there are so many other things from the anime that and the manga that just would not have worked here. But they somehow did that. They somehow were able to get that far and do that much. And that is so fucking astounding. Like, that is just brilliant. And then you have this, and it's like, there's obviously so much different. Like, Bell-mare's name is not mentioned once in this, obviously. I'm sure it will be next episode, but it hasn't been mentioned a single time. She's just been referred to as their mother, and the subtitles listed her as, like, woman. But her name has not even been brought up once. And it's like, despite that, despite all the changes, despite certain characters like Hachi being taken out, certain things being, you could say, rushed through. Again, this is as perfect as you could have fucking gotten in this. Things that they cut out, honestly, feel kind of better that they cut out. I mean, mind you, I fucking miss Momu. I fucking love Momu. That sea cow has, like, won my heart the first time I saw it and has never let it go. But, despite that, despite the lack of Momu, despite the lack of Hachi, despite not having the part where Nami stabs Usopp, pretends to stab Usopp, and in reality stabs her own hand, despite handling things notably different, it has nonetheless just gotten everything that it did show, not only perfect, but as absolutely stunningly perfect as possible. And I'll get to certain examples of that. And it's improved on things, like a lot of things have in this series. There are a lot of things that are actually better than in the original. Again, I actually like that Nojiko didn't know. I think the idea that Nojiko didn't know, and the anger and resentment she felt towards Nami for siding with Arlong, gives more emotional depth to their relationship and to the reveal of why she had done it, to just the emotion that Nami feels when she's stabbing herself at the end, because of how much she's had to sacrifice, how much she's had to hide. She completely destroyed her relationship with her sister because of this. And to have it reduced to what she sees at this point as nothing, it means more than if Nojiko knew. And I don't know if they're going to have, like, Genzo having known and the rest of the village having known, but Nojiko didn't. But I don't know what they're going to do in that regard, but maybe they're not even going to touch on it. But this change was so... It was better. It was actively better. And it's not the first time they've done that. Not the first change they've made. Honestly, excluding Don Krieg from the Baratie arc and having him just killed right away and everything, and having Arlong be built up was a good choice, and a lot better than Don Krieg. Let's be honest. Don Krieg is the worst East Blue villain by far. He's just so generic and bland. But there's so much depth, and building up Arlong throughout this season has made this hit so much more. It's made it feel so much more impactful. Because even from the moment that Nami is calling on the little transponder snail, and says, like, I've got the map and everything, you see that build up start. And it's like, that's what, episode 2, I want to say? It's like that build up is starting. It's setting things up quick. And it's making you understand that shit is going down. And it's just so fucking good. It's so fucking good. And let's talk about certain things in here. I mentioned in the reaction, Arlong Park being turned into like an actual like rundown theme park. Such a phenomenal idea. It gives Arlong Park a lot more personality. Because in the manga and anime, it's basically just a single tall building that Arlong has kind of taken over and put his like symbol and stuff all over. A little like inlet for like ships or whatnot, and that's pretty much it. It's kind of a single location thing. He has his throne just sitting there in the entranceway of the building. It's very bland. So making it this theme park, having more personality, a tiki bar being part of it, these like theme park games and stuff, it has so much personality. It feels like it's lived in. It feels like it's an actual location and not just a set. You know what I mean? The village feeling more like this tiny little village of huts rather than, you know, actual full houses is such a smart decision. It shows how poor Kokiyashi Village is, or I guess Koko Village in this. Again, that's a nitpick at best. That's not a big deal. But it shows how poor they are. It shows how down on their luck and everything they are, especially when being run down by Arlong and his crew. Everything is going wrong. Everything is terrible for them. They are in a really bad place. And it really hammers that in so much better than it did in the manga and the anime. And, like, Nojiko not, like, just going up to the crew and trusting them to tell the story and everything at first. I always felt that was a little weird in the manga and anime. Instead, she aims a gun at them and is telling them, like, I have the gun. You get the fuck out of here. But then Sanji kind of, like, calms her down. It's like, I'm a world-class chef. I can cook you a really good meal. I don't need a lot of ingredients. I got this. And it appeals to her because we see how fucking poor they are. We see how down on their luck they are. Yeah, a great meal from someone who is apparently a world-class chef is going to appeal to someone like that. It's going to get them interested, even if they don't necessarily believe it. They're going to be more receptive to that because they're starving. It makes sense. It's such a great added touch. Buggy being in this, like, we've already touched how amazing Jeff Ward is. His little additions in this, him helping them get to the island and having, like, little funny moments, is a good amount of levity amongst the seriousness of this part of the story. Because it's very serious. It's very serious, very dark, very upsetting. So having Buggy act as little moments of levity is a smart idea. And it helps keep you from getting too sad, for lack of a better way of putting it. It keeps you from getting too sad. Nezumi was handled well, and him, like, coming in and to take the money and everything. Nami screams. Oh my god, Emily Rudd. I went into this. I talked about in the pre-thoughts how I was a little worried about how this was going to be handled. Nami's screams, because Emily has not like really gotten loud or anything during this. Like the closest she got was when she was yelling at Buggy for destroying Orangetown. But like, oh my god, you could hear the desperation, the pain, the fear, the anger in her screams. She was like, again, there you couldn't have portrayed that more perfectly. Thinking back to how the voice actress did the screams in the anime, it's like this matched it 100%. And I'm talking about the original Japanese voice actress, though the American VA did a great job as well. But the original Japanese voice actress was so raw and unfiltered with those screams, and hearing Emily Rudd do it here, it's like I was worried at first that she was not going to be able to live up to that. Oh my god, she did. She very much did. Seeing her like grabbing at the tattoo and then stabbing it, it's like I was brought instantly back to that scene in the anime, and it's like I was crying. I was very notably crying, and it's like just exactly the same emotions. Exactly the same emotions that scene gave me in the anime. And when Luffy stopped her and everything, the one other thing I can nitpick is like she's like, you have no idea what's going on here. He's like, I don't. It's like, I mean, he kind of does. He knows more than he did in the anime and manga. In the anime and manga, he didn't know shit. He didn't hear the backstory. But here he did. He just doesn't know everything. He just heard like a secondhand account of things. So, and when he heard it, he didn't even know that why Nami was doing it. He didn't know why Nami was working for Arlong. So it works enough. It again, a nitpick at best. But him like saying, of course I will, but then like repeating it to himself before yelling it out, I liked that. He's pumping himself up. I like that. That's a good addition. And then when him saying "Let's go, everybody," and it's showing the manga panel screen of them all saying like "right" or whatever, like, oh my god, that gave me chills. That was so perfect. Like, I had a notable reaction to that. You would have seen in the reaction. I notably reacted to that moment. I'm sorry if I seem frantic, if I seem like I'm just like bulleting through all of this and everything. It's like you watch something that is just so perfect, so amazing, so wonderful, so emotional, so just stunning, that it gets like everything in your brain just flashing, just like strobe lights just flashing in your brain on and off. All of the chemicals just bursting forth, exploding like a break in a dam. And it's like, it's just a shit ton of just intense energy bursting out of you, which I don't normally fucking have. I am not a very energetic person. I'm not a very excitable person. You guys know that. It takes a lot to get me this fucking hyped. Even when I'm very much enjoying something, like I'll laugh, I'll get excited and everything, have a big smile on my face, but I'm not usually bursting with this much fucking energy. I don't do that. I'm not like a lot of other reactors who do that constantly. I'm not like a lot of other reactors who is just like constantly screaming and yelling and getting excited and destroying my voice right now. Because I very clearly am feeling very raspy in my throat, and I am definitely going to have to get some water after this. I don't do that. You guys, anyone who's been watching my channel knows I don't do that. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Sorry for going absolutely insane here. I hope this is a good first impression for you. If not, I apologize. But, like, if you are new, context. One Piece, the anime specifically, is my favorite piece of media of all time. it means an exceptional amount. It means an exceptional amount to me. I've been watching it since the debut of the 4Kids dub, and I've watched it in the Japanese multiple times. I've read a good portion of the manga, basically up to the end of Alabasta, but I'm not really much of a manga reader personally. I've played many of the games. I've had some of the earlier trading cards, not the newer ones that were recently released. I'm a massive One Piece fan. I have figures in my room, everything. This is brilliant. This live action series is not just the best live action series for an anime adaptation that's been out there. It's one of the best anime based adaptions, period, and that's including video games and other stuff like that too. Other spin-off adaptions, not just like one medium of visual, like anime to or manga to live act. You get what I'm saying. I hope you get what I'm saying. I don't understand what I'm saying. Again, I'm feeling pretty manic right now just because of all the energy. This is amazing. It's like, in a lot of ways, it's better than the original source. It's better than the manga and anime. In a lot of ways, there's certain things that aren't as good. And there's a lot that is just as good, just in different ways, just in different handlings of the material. And I'm not one of those people who is just gonna praise the original source and get like weirdly obsessed with Eiichiro Oda like he's perfection incarnate. No. Especially during this early stuff, Oda made a lot of mistakes and a lot of things that he probably wishes he could go back and change. And remember, all of the changes in this, literally everything in this live action adaptation, had to be approved by Oda. He had to approve everything. All these changes are things that he approved, that he thinks works for his story, for his characters. These are things that he likes. And some of them might be things that he wished he had done, like introducing Garp sooner. He might have wished that he had done that. Or having Buggy be more of a part of the story, or having Arlong be introduced and built up a lot more, a lot sooner. Some of these changes might be things that Oda actually prefers to what he wrote. Believe it or not, it's fucking possible. It's very possible for a creator to look back on their work and acknowledge that not everything they did, they actually liked. Or things that they look back on and it's like, that could have been done better than I did it back then. Because remember, One Piece came out over 25 years ago? Oda is at a very different point in his writing, in his art, in all of that than he was at the beginning. Very different point. Of course he probably looks back and thinks, after all that fucking time, this could have been done better. This could have been handled differently. This character, I wish I had thought of them sooner and added them in a lot earlier. Oh yeah. It's just like, and there's certain parts of this that, yeah, Oda probably thinks maybe are a little rushed, but again, that's because of a difference in medium. Things aren't going to be exactly the same. And Oda made a statement saying that prior to this coming out, that you can't expect things to be one-to-one. And honestly, you shouldn't want that anyway. That's a stupid thing to even want for an adaptation like this. You should want it to do its own thing, but to still respect and just understand the source material enough to where it still captures the same feeling. And this 100% does. It 100% captures the exact same feelings, the same emotions, the same hype, the same excitement. and they're in a very different way, and that's fine. There's a lot of differences, and that's okay. I'm perfectly okay with that, because what we're getting is just so damn good. It's just like, oh my god. It almost feels like each part of this series has just been better than the last. The only real issue I've had with it, I mentioned before, was that Usopp wasn't shown defending Kaya as much during the Syrup Village stuff in episodes 4 and 5. Or 3 and 4, sorry. 3 and 4. And that's not that big of a deal, because of the way they handled it being so different. He was still shown defending her and sticking up for her and being on her side and everything. That was still shown. That's a minor gripe at best, and that's the worst of them. That's the only like notable gripe I have with this entire thing. Each part otherwise has been better than the last, has been more exciting and more intense than the last. This is just unbelievably remarkable that they were able to pull this off. The cast is perfect. The excitement, the emotions, the intensity is perfect. It is as perfect as you can get in an adaptation like this. There's a reason why this series broke the record for the quickest renewal of any series on Netflix. It got a season 2 renewal after 2 weeks. That is the quickest any series has gotten renewed on Netflix. It's become an amazing worldwide phenomenon that people have just absolutely been blown away by. It's like, without question, the vast majority of people have been loving this. There are some naysayers. There are some people out there who are bitching about certain things and whining about changes, and there are some people even fucking lying and saying that Oda didn't approve things, or that Oda disliked a lot of these changes. It's like, no, that's literally a proven lie. Fuck you if you're spreading that shit. I think there a lot of these people are just like spreading spreading these lies and spreading this negativity just because internet trolls. Because again, the vast majority of people are loving this. The views, the praise it's received, it's so fucking good. And when this writer strike ends and everything, the actor strike ends and they're able to start working on season 2, I can't wait to see the casting announcements. I can't wait to find out who's playing Robin, who's playing Vivi, who's playing Mr. 2, Crocodile. Jamie Lee Curtis better fucking be Kureha, because no one else should be Kureha. How they're gonna fucking work Tony Chopper. We know he's coming. It's gonna be so fucking good. I'm probably going to rant about this again next episode, since next episode's the last one. I almost thought of just continuing the next episode anyways. I almost considered it. But I decided to hold myself back because I just don't have the time. It would have been a mistake if I had done that. But again, this episode, perfection. The help me scene, oh my god, perfection. Just so fucking good. Amazing. Perfect. Love it. Yes. Yes. All of my yes. 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 Tell me your thoughts. And it better be yes. Tell me what you thought of this episode. Tell me what you think of the fucking series. No spoilers on next episode. I don't want to know how next episode goes and what changes they have. Do not tell me. I'll probably be watching it if not tomorrow, then probably Wednesday. Definitely this week, obviously. And again, you already know My Little Pony Make Your Mark is replacing this. Already started with the episode 15 reaction today because, again, I was originally planning on doing both of these episodes today. But whatever. We're just starting it a little early. It's not the first time I've done that. So, yeah. Tell me your thoughts. Tell me how much you love this. I'm Connie. I'm signing off. See you all next time. Bye.